You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Jon Benjamin Has a Van. Tonight's host is John Barrett. Joining John will be AfterBuzz co-hosts Jack Was and Greg Goodness. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Jon Benjamin Has a Van news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, John Barrett!
Howdy, y'all. The disembodied voice just told you that Jack Was is here, and he is not. He's off being a turd with his lady friend at a turd event.
They're watching Transformers 3 right now at like a special invite-only party, cool person, whatever.
For turds.
Yeah, for turds.
It was for turds. Anyway, so Jon Benjamin has a van, and we have a podcast about it.
Yay! Oh, I like that.
Isn't that a good one?
Yeah.
Man, I'm awesome.
That should be your... I mean, I know you're all about the disembodied voice thing, but that should be your new... well, how long was that little last beat going for, Jesse?
Yeah, oh, geez.
The disembodied voice loves extending things. Even season premieres, as we heard with Wilfred.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Truth.
So yeah, let's do that from now on.
All right.
Let's say Jon Benjamin, say it again.
Jon Benjamin has a van, and we have a podcast about it.
Nice. Zing. Thank you, everyone. Good night. That concludes it for us. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
We appreciate your fake internet applause, though.
Yes. So, homemade wheelchair gun.
The absolute best way ever to grab the viewer's attention. Other than what is going on the screen
can
right
we,
now.
Just for a second, point out that what's going on our television right now is, I believe it's Love Bites, and there's some serious like sexing going on our TV.
But
Yeah.
why did the sexing go straight to Mimi from Drew Carey's close-up of her face?
Yeah, really.
I mean,
Can you
contrast?
I mean,
Horrible editing.
they needed to kill all the boners, I guess.
Hashtag horrible editing.
Yeah.
So, John, why don't you hit the power button? Because I'm going to be really distracted by all the sexting going on.
That wasn't the power button that I just hit, I don't think.
Well, figure it out, man. Good God. But yes, other than Mimi's face and weird sexual positions, thank you, NBC.
Nope.
Homemade wheelchair gun. Best way to draw in the audience ever.
Yep.
Like, if I was just channel surfing and I heard, will this man get his homemade wheelchair gun back? I would stick around for the next 30 minutes.
Oh, I would. And the best follow-up to the best intro ever? Jazz air guitarist.
So serious about
It
it.
went on for like a minute.
That guy does look like he would play jazz guitar, though. I think you said it's commitment to the bit.
Yeah, it was really, really great.
He looks like he's about to kill someone, though.
Yeah.
Like those dead little
Yeah,
eyes
he
of
had
his.
really dead eyes.
Oh, God.
Oh, also, I just noticed this, or I mean, I've noticed it in the past, but like it finally clicked with me. The intro where Jon Benjamin, they go to Jon Benjamin's van, and on his van there's a decal of the van, and on that decal of the van there's a decal of the van, and so on and so on and so on into infinity.
How did you not notice this
No,
before?
what I'm about to say is what I just put together.
Oh, okay.
Remember 6 or 7 Popes?
Yes. I
It
do.
was a webcomic that Greg Goodness and I used to write.
With other people. www.6or7popes.com. You have to spell it out, 6 or 7.
Yeah. Anyway, there was characters called the St. Louis Cardinals, who were, like cardinals from the Catholic Church from the planet St. Louis.
Okay.
And they all had tattoos on their bicep of cardinals, like the birds, with tattoos on their biceps. And one of the cardinals had a tattoo of a cardinal with a tattoo of a cardinal with a tattoo of a cardinal with a tattoo of a cardinal. And we were going to get one of the characters really high and have him get lost in that never-ending cycle of cardinal tattoos.
To further draw upon that, Beavis and Butthead, way back when, there was a whole episode about how they're going to get tattoos of butts on their butts. And on those butts will be tattoos of butts.
That's amazing.
Yes. So there's a long, proud tradition of things being on other things, is what we're getting at.
Yes. A long, wonderful, beautiful history.
That we can now zoom in on, thanks to computer technology. And Jon Benjamin Has a band.
Word. I
love the name Fugs. That was the guy's last name, right? The guy in the wheelchair?
Yes, Greg Fugs.
Greg Fugs. It sounds like such a redneck name.
I know.
Perfect.
I know. It was such a good name. That's the next thing I wrote down was Greg Fugs because it's my favorite name.
I'm going to change my name. Forget goodness. Yeah. I'm now Greg Fugs.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
And I'm also going to get that wheelchair gun. Which props to the prop team that put that together.
What did he say? It was a pretty nice weapon, and then I lost the next word. And then for a wheelchair.
I don't know. I'm totally blanking on this line. Mobile, whatever.
It was awesome, though. What an awesome idea.
And it starts off funny, right? We're like, okay, he's building this massive gun. But then the idea that some neighborhood kids came along
and stole it. And then used it to shoot up a mirror store.
One of the mirror stores.
Right, one of two mirror stores which are next to each other.
I can't think of one mirror store. Maybe like in LA there are a few because it's LA and it's a really weird place with a lot of weird people with a lot of weird tastes. But to have two mirror stores right next to each other is pretty lulz, as they say.
Yeah, it is pretty lulz. Another great thing is him saying, I just hope some good can come of this. And Jon Benjamin just looking him in the face and saying, what good could possibly come of this?
Nothing good can come of that.
And then,
laughter.
And then it's basically immediately followed by him starting to cry and Jon Benjamin telling him, are you crying? Don't be a baby. Stop crying.
Oh, man. The reenactment. Where
best reenactment ever, other than maybe Human Giant's like escalating reenactments sketch.
Oh yeah.
Where the reenactment for one of those like violent TV shows turns into a reenactment of that reenactment.
I love how they spliced in cell phone footage. I thought that was that was a nice touch that really made it. It's like, hey, they're up to date. They're with the times on this one.
Exactly.
Because everyone has cell phone footage of stuff now.
Also, it makes it even less it makes it like more real to the
gritty.
Story.
Which, by the way, this would be a horrifying sequence if it was anything but a wheelchair guy.
Right.
It's like someone's, Jon Benjamin, how do you make a rampage funny? Put it on a wheelchair.
It's definitely, yes, that's how I would do it.
I wonder if there was ever a point where Jon Benjamin was like, guys, should we do this? I mean, this is pretty offensive, guys.
Can we really kill a whole mall full of people? Oh, wait, it's on a wheelchair. Never mind.
It's fine. I also like that the wheelchair had grenades because how?
Exactly.
How?
And why?
Now, I can see the why. I mean, if you're going to make a weapon of mass destruction on a wheelchair, you might as well have a few grenades on there. But when it's powered by a straw and you can't use your arms, that just makes you a walking target.
True.
Someone could sneak up on you behind your turning radius, pull the pin.
And then you're done.
It is a serious design flaw.
Oh, man. That was so funny. So after that, they get basically immediately into the main story.
Oh, right before we get into that, though, you didn't seem like an asshole when you first came in, but now I am.
Oh my god, that was so fun.
Yeah, this was one of the better, like, really short bits they put together in
that was so fun.
The first few episodes. I'm really a big fan.
That was a really, really good one.
Yeah.
So then they jump just right into the poor farm.
No, they don't jump right. They do.
Did they do minute?
Minute of
do
your
you have a
time.
minute?
Yeah.
Do you have a minute?
Yeah.
Right. Which I think I like. You can't film here more as one of those segments.
See, this was one of the things they talked about in that interview we looked at way back when, that you don't know if it's like the actors are in on it or they aren't. I thought that this was kind of an example where it's like, oh man, that's really obviously they're in on it. At least for the first two people that they set up. Like the other ones, it was kind of a little more ambiguous and funny. But this, it was really, at least to me, obvious that it,
it was
or
pretty
maybe
clear.
I'm completely wrong, and that's just stupid people in real life.
Also possible.
But to be fair, they're not that stupid. I would totally give Jon Benjamin a minute of my time.
Right.
But then we go into the poor farm.
Yeah, that was great.
Really physical, like, opening. A lot of physical comedy in the way they introduced
it. I just love. I at first I was like, why? You know, like I saw that he wasn't holding his own mic. He was holding a coffee, and then it pans down to it being the sound guy. I was like, why is the sound guy holding the mic? And then I was like, oh right, because that's what sound guys do. They hold mics.
Sound playing a very important part in this episode.
And it was really funny to me because I have been. For the past couple of days, I've been script supervising a feature, and I'm on like the sound. I have a Comtech on the whole time, like I can hear.
What is a Comtech for
it's
those
like,
of our listeners who don't know?
What happens is on a movie shoot, because most cameras don't record sound, so someone has to record sound to play along with the moving images that are getting captured.
I see.
And so you have the visual images, which you can just look at, but sometimes you're far away and can't hear them. So then the sound guy who is recording sound, also interesting to note, the sound guy on this feature's name is Nathan.
Ah, serendipitous.
Interesting, isn't it? He has a mixer that all the mics that the actors have go into, and then he can transmit it to a thing called a Comtech, which is used by the director and in most cases the script supervisor, so that we can tell what the hell is going on.
Touché. And now we know. And now you know, internet.
There you go.
Nice job. I also like not just the microphone bit, but Jon Benjamin leaning out of the way so that the camera can zoom in.
Yeah, and he's still like in the corner. I love it. I love it.
I was worried that they were gonna get like into the poor farm because I was like, it's funny. It's not. It's no Little Italy.
Right.
No Little Italy.
Right.
But then, wow, they sure just took it.
Yeah. It was funny as hell.
Yeah. I like in the anonymous interview session where Jon Benjamin is also blacked out.
Yes.
He's also in the shadows.
John, host. Jon Benjamin has a van.
Yeah.
I love that the poor farm has, like, as evidence of how poor it is, a set of Arby's.
A boarded up internet cafe as well. Which all over LA, like
right?
Not anymore because I think at this point they've all been like torn down. But I've been here like 2 years now, roughly. For the first year and a half, you could not throw a stone without hitting a boarded up internet cafe.
That's so sad.
Yeah, well, everyone has internet now, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point?
Or you have a library and you don't need that.
Yeah.
Or you have Kinko's. Plug in Kinko's. Actually, I'm not. I went there the other day. It was horrible. soul-deadening experience.
So F you, Kinkos.
Yeah. That's the official position of Jon Benjamin Has a Van podcast. Quick, play the disclaimer. Not quick enough. It's true now.
The music's...
Way to just give up the cause.
The other thing...
He was like, oh, well, I guess it's official now, whatever.
The other thing I really loved in the beginning part of that interview is, what's the saddest, or like, what's the worst thing you've ever seen? My daddy killed himself. And then, the poor farm.
Oh.
2 guys taking a shit on a bus.
You really enjoyed that, huh?
Just the way he said my daddy killed himself. Oh, no, 2 guys taking a shit on a bus.
So honest. That's what Jon Benjamin is all about. Finding honest folk in America.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about Nathan and
Well,
how
let's talk about
much
him.
we love Nathan.
Yeah.
Nathan.
I don't have a phone.
No, before that, it's just Nathan. Sounds good. No, Nathan. Do you have a phone? No.
You don't have a phone?
I Skype.
Skype.
I love Nathan. I want to see more of Nathan. Nathan
Me
needs
too.
to be everywhere all the time.
All right, I have this written down, and now I don't know what it was in reference to. It's the line, I mean, me, a little bit. Oh, John, him saying, you guys big shots, or whatever,
Yeah.
and Jon Benjamin says, no, I mean, me, a little bit.
Which is true.
Yeah.
The voice is definitely a big shot.
Definitely.
Voice known world over.
Or at least, like, parts of the world over.
Right. Certain nerdy parts of the world.
Like, I'm sure there's people in, like, deep forests in the Amazon who haven't heard his voice.
Ewoks haven't heard his voice.
Ewoks haven't heard his voice because they live on the forest moon of Endor.
Yeah. Exactly. Proves my point. I'm glad we're in agreement.
All right. Also, I love him saying, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah. Poor Nathan. Just
Wait,
towing
Nathan,
away.
if you're going to the diner, get me a tea.
Black tea. Get a receipt! Which I can so appreciate, because that's like the biggest thing to remember on sets. Whenever you're getting
is
something.
get a receipt.
Oh, good God. If you forget that receipt,
Oh, man.
there is just hellfire and brimstone raining down. It needs to be
Yep.
itemized, too. It can't just be like, oh, you spent $20.
Right,
No,
exactly.
You spent $4.95 on a mocha latte and $3 on a croissant, and it's got to be broken down, man. Accounting needs that.
That's why I'm glad I haven't been PAing lately.
So, yeah, so terrific
It is. It's the
getting
worst.
those receipts.
I hate it.
So kudos to Jon Benjamin for staying true to the production values of sets world over.
Yeah. But what really struck me and really reminded me of being on set is how just as he starts driving away, the sound starts to like get really crappy and then finally crap out.
Yeah, it took me a second. I was like, wait, what? There's something wrong with the recording. And then I think me and you both simultaneously realized what was going on at the exact same time. And we just broke down laughing.
Oh,
and
man.
for those of you who were listening to the Wilfred podcast, we also do that. Siobhan was watching with us as well. I don't think she appreciated it nearly as much as you and I did. She appreciated it, but I don't know why. I just absolutely lost my head when that happened.
Yeah, that was because like I remember once on another feature I script supervised, I had to they were shooting in the back of a truck and like there just wasn't room. There was room for a camera, all the actors, and that's it. So they just sort of drove off, and I was on the Comtech.
As explained earlier.
Yeah. And it just like I see it go up the hill, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna follow the dialogue, and then just crapped out. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna follow the dialogue then.
Oh well. Too bad.
It was fun. Now we have no sound. Oh man.
Yeah, that was again, I didn't know how they were gonna deal with that for the rest of the episode, but pretty funny.
Oh, that was great.
Also, just the little moment of Nathan hitting his head on the truck as he's pulling, like, ow! So Black Tea, ow! A nice touch.
Yeah, and I love that. I love when they finally get to the diner after this supposedly deaf man picks them up.
Oh my god,
which
how
is
great
so
was
funny.
that? I can't read. JK.
That was so funny. And now we have no sound. Like, that's the one. Now we have no sound. That's the most important thing about Nathan having gone missing, which is great.
Yeah.
2, I love that they cut to them in the diner, and it's just like a bunch of shots of stuff that's really noisy, and it's silent.
And the total not shot working, and thus the shot ends up working, of everyone stopping and looking at the phone, and you're just like, wait,
what the hell's going on?
And it takes you like a full 5 minutes, like, oh, it's ringing.
Yeah. I didn't get that it was ringing until he picked it up.
Yeah, I was like, why is he walking over really slowly?
And I love the split screen of them with no sound, and you can see everything, and then no visual and just sound, and you can just hear Jon Benjamin's voice coming through the phone line.
Barely. Just
so
barely.
that was so funny.
That's dedication to the bit.
Also, I want my sound back.
Just close enough to I want my son back to make it a Harrison Ford moment.
Exactly.
But not quite.
Oh, that was so funny.
Jon Benjamin, the new action hero.
I mean, he played the Bruce Willis lookalike on Human Giant.
And he also plays Archer, who lends his voice to doing action-y things.
Yeah.
But,
and Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. He doesn't do much.
He cooks burgers.
Yeah.
But that was the funniest. Also, why was there an ATM in the middle of the desert?
See, I actually made a note of that where it is not that unlikely these days.
Yeah, that's a good
there's
point.
like ATMs everywhere. No matter, you can't, granted, it's one of those crappy ATMs that's probably going to steal all your financial information.
Right.
But also, that trick wouldn't have worked because when you can only take out $200, you can only take out $200 for a 24-hour period.
Right.
As I found out.
The hard way.
Yes.
I found that out the hard way once trying to put down a deposit on an apartment in Boston.
Oh, really?
I didn't have any checks. Like, my checks hadn't come through.
Just whatever, pay them in cash.
Yeah,
right?
nope, didn't happen.
Did you lose the apartment?
Oh, no. We figured it out. I owed my, long story short, we got the apartment. Crisis
averted.
Yup.
And now you're here. You were there, but now you're here.
Yeah. Thank God. So he takes out $10,000 in $200 increments, which is amazing.
And it takes the entirety of
the hour.
Yeah. Leaving him, 15 seconds to get to the hotel?
Yeah.
So, wasn't that far away from the hotel?
Apparently not.
I thought they were going to miss it. And that was like in my mind. I'm saying, oh, well, that's the
end of Nathan, the sound guy.
Exactly. We have to find a new sound guy now.
I just love that he hugs him and he's like, why are you wet? I peed my pants.
Ew. I missed a lot of that interaction.
I just love that his response was, I peed my pants.
It was scary. Also, a nice callback to the earlier episodes where whenever they show a photo of someone, they need to be naked.
Yeah.
Where are they taking these photos?
Yeah.
And why? Is that like on their ID badge?
Yeah. They have to they have to be naked.
Just in case.
Yeah, you don't want to have any, issues with that.
Right.
So, there it is.
I think that should be the new policy at the DMV. Is you strip down, and that's the picture on your license.
Yeah.
It's just the full frontal nude shot. Yeah. Just to make you feel even more awkward during a traffic stop.
It's like, yes,
make you feel even less
empowered.
No,
you're looking at the right thing. That's my penis.
Yes. I mean, that's not what they should be looking at, but whatever.
I mean, that's how I identify people.
I'd probably get out of a lot of tickets that way. I'd be like, hand over your light. Aw, you got a lot of stuff going on. Why don't you just go?
You can just go. You can just go. You'll never make it in prison, so we'll just let you go.
Yeah.
That was great.
Burning the money. Very Joker-esque.
Yeah.
Very Madman-esque. That's where I thought they were going with it. It was some sort of weird play on the Joker.
I mean, I knew it was the guy from the. I was like, I was pretty sure it was going to be a guy from the thing.
For once in my storied career of saying, "Oh, I knew it was coming to that," I had no idea.
I mean, I'm not upset about it. I was just curious as to how they were going to do it.
I was totally taken aback. I was totally surprised. I had no idea that's what was coming.
Yeah.
Was that we were going to expect to see people from the poor farm. Also, why the poor farm? Why not the poor ranch or poor camp or something? They weren't really farming anything.
Yeah.
Other than poor people.
Well, rich people and turning them into, I don't know how to, yeah. Yeah, farm seems like an odd choice of word.
Misnomer, I'd say.
Yeah.
Shame. Shame, shame, shame. I know that our audience can't see it, but I'm doing the little...
Yeah, he's doing that shame thing with the fingers.
Gesture. Which could be any number of things, really. But I'm doing the one that's appropriate for the situation.
Not the inappropriate one.
Yeah.
I also love John waving to them as they drive off in the limo. The two.
Oh, did he?
Poor farm. He does his little wave.
His little schlubby wave. Jon Benjamin, by the way, I know we sort of already passed this point. Jon Benjamin would totally fit into the poor farm. He kind of looks the part.
Yeah, he does.
He looks a little schlubby in his overcoat. And I love him, and he's a great actor and everything. But my God, does he look schlubby and poor.
Yeah, he does look schlubby and poor.
Especially after shooting out in the desert all day.
Yep.
I don't know. I can see him taking a poop on a bus.
Totally could.
Basically what I'm getting at.
Oh man, in the interview where the guy's like, and me and what's his face took a shit on a bus. And he's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I heard about that.
Nice little tie-in.
Oh, I love this show.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know. It's things that are so stupid, like to say aloud.
Yeah.
But they're just so enjoyable to watch.
I know, it's so funny.
So enjoyable.
I also loved when he was doing the last Do You Have a Minute? Jon Benjamin, you could literally see him like have to like bite his lip and not crack during that last one.
Yeah, and deciding just how much to give them.
Yeah,
whereas you could tell he didn't want to say anything,
right.
But he just had. I wanted to be like focused, focused, and a little like gestures like he's going to say something.
Yeah.
And I do like how the guy started. Me and my wife were just we got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was.
A minute.
Yeah, with 4 seconds left, he starts telling the story. Oh, that was so funny. So darn funny.
We never got to see more of the jazz air guitarist.
Yeah, there's always one thing that they introduce that they never go back to.
Didn't they show everything? In the pilot episode, I thought they showed everything.
I forget.
Maybe not.
I forget.
Whatever.
I don't think about the past, man.
You're all about the now.
I'm all about the here and now.
How very hip and...
I'm really happening,
mental
dude.
well-being of you.
Yeah.
That's not the right word to describe that.
Nope, because that's not really an adjective.
But it's the basic sentiment is there.
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's supposed to be like good. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
I'm picking up what you're throwing down a little bit.
You're a jerk.
Thank you.
I think that covers it. I think we wrapped up.
I think it's time
for this episode, so
for us to go to our first commercial break.
Let's do it.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
And we're back.
We are.
And it's time for us to present our hybrid of the special segment of news and gossip section.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, wait, no, that's the predictions.
You
noise.
idiot!
I hate myself so much. So, Mr. Gregory Harold Goodness. I don't know.
Wait, Harold?
Yeah, that's your middle name now. I changed it.
No, you did not,
Yeah,
sir.
I did.
I'm keeping Johnson. That's where it's at.
You're keeping Matt Damon's Johnson. Call back.
Yes. Check out Wilfred. I'm not going to high-five that. Check out Wilfred to see just how badly John just burned me. Which is pretty badly.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty freaking bad. So what do we got? What do we got?
We got reviews, which doesn't sound terribly exciting in of itself, but I promise you it's leading into a larger discussion that is relevant. So let's frame it in the context of Wilfred, shall we? Wilfred was a show that premiered roughly same time, started up the same time.
Right.
I think Jon Benjamin's been on 3 weeks now, 4.
This is his 3rd week.
Yeah, 3rd week. Wilfred is on 2. So around the same time they premiered. And we talked about how Jon Benjamin pulled in, was it just over $1 million, right?
It was like just south of $1 million in his first week, I thought.
Yeah, something like that. Wilfred, on the other hand, pulled in 2.4. And we also talked about how Comedy Central had given the poo-poo to 2 shows that had pulled in similar numbers in the same time slot. So, I haven't been able to find any updated numbers for Jon Benjamin Has a Van, which doesn't speak well to finding a new audience per se. But let's talk about what people have been saying specifically about the show. A lot of people, not huge fans. I'm thinking of one article specifically where, let's see if I can pull it up here. Well, I know that one gave the not so favorable review. It was the Washington Post. Said that Jon Benjamin has a van, but not much else. Burn!
Wow.
Yeah, kind of a jerk thing to say.
Just sort of like lazy, too.
A little bit. A lot of people, I feel, aren't getting the humor. A lot of people aren't quite as nerdy as you and I. So let's go out and say it. This is not like a wide show.
No.
This is not something that catches a wide net.
No, it's a show for awesome people like you and me.
Yeah, the best people, really. But,
yeah.
So what I wanted to kind of talk about this week then is how I think that even though there are a lot of people who are kind of hating on the show, as it were, and that's not all people. I should mention that the AV Club has continually given solid ratings.
Because the AV Club is good people like us.
Yeah, they're the best people, some might say. And the New York Times gave some really great...
That pinko rag.
Yeah, that pinko rag that we were just... saying what a terrible, terrible thing it is a while ago. We're now quickly reversing our stance on that, saying that it's okay. Because they really talked up the show. Where was I going with all this? Ah, yes. Point being that even though it's narrow comedy and that it's not appealing to everyone, I think that that's okay. And I'm going to tie this back into Tim and Eric, which is a lot of people really hate Tim and Eric.
Most people really hate Tim and Eric.
But...
the best people, like yourself and myself,
right,
love the piss out of it.
Yeah, and everyone out there who's listening to this podcast loves it as well.
Presumably.
Theoretically, unless you're some sort of weird sadist who just likes to listen to things he disagrees with.
Right.
But, you know, we welcome your listenership as well.
So
we'll
thanks. I mean, thanks.
Feel free to call us up and argue with us, because we will totally argue the bejesus out of you on this point, because we're both big fans. But I think that's okay, and I think that it's definitely weird humor, and it's sort of... This is like a new humor that I don't think a lot of people are used to.
Yeah.
But I also think it's something that's coming into vogue and coming into its own right.
Yep.
And I think that Jon Benjamin has the potential to sort of be that segue, where we're not on Adult Swim anymore.
Right. It's not late night.
We're not doing Tim and Eric, right?
Right.
And Archer, as much as Archer, you know, made by the same people from Adult Swim, it holds up more as like a real show.
Yeah, it's not Adult Swimmy, really.
Yeah. And this is something that people have heard me talk about Archer in the past, I'll always sort of harp on this point, is that the stuff you're seeing on Adult Swim now and the sort of style of humor that you're seeing is the stuff that is going to be like the prime time television of tomorrow. And I honestly firmly believe that. And I believe that that's what we're seeing now with Jon Benjamin Has a Van. Is that we're taking this humor, and granted, it hasn't necessarily appealed to a huge audience like the way Wilfred has, right? But we're bringing it on to Comedy Central, bringing it into the mainstream, and I think it's going to become more widely accepted for it as a result.
Word up.
Thoughts?
I tend to agree. I mean, my hope is that Comedy Central gives this its fair chance, because I think this is a little bit more palatable than Tim and Eric was.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is, when you think about it, similar to the Steve Brule show that I forgot the name of.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah.
Dr. Steve Brule. Even more structured than that, I think. So it's a little better transition. But yeah, I can see the parallel.
But yeah, there's there's a little more like realness, and it's not. It doesn't seem like it's edited on some strange mix of crystal meth and acid.
Yeah. To go back to what we were saying about Wilfred, about things being rewarded, I've just been, or things that are different being rewarded. I just was cruising through this New York Times article here, and they mention that these detours, he's talking about the sort of structure of the show, these detours make the show more interesting than a fake news or prank show clone. So, and I think that there's something inherently true about that, which maybe we had talked about how Jon Benjamin kind of mixed up the format after Comedy Central had ordered some episodes. But I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Where they were maybe expecting a new show clone or something like that, a straight parody. But it's a better show for it. And I think that in the future, all those naysayers are going to be proved wrong. So fanboy, 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 fanboy is basically what I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That brings us to predictions, does it not?
I believe it does. I predict it does.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict that we'll see a slow but steady increase in Jon Benjamin Has a Van viewership. And I predict that Jon Benjamin will continue to have a van.
Plot lines, what do you expect? Future? Any ideas?
Bigfoot. I bet there's going to be a Bigfoot one.
Oh, like tracking down a mythic legend kind of thing?
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be real cool.
Yeah.
Only Bigfoot is like not the thing. I don't know. It'll play out. I'm going to make a request for the future, which is more Nathan. More Nathan
Please,
the sound
more Nathan.
guy. Oh my god. I cannot get enough Nathan the sound guy.
Yeah.
Sounds good. No. Do you have a phone? No. You don't have a phone.
So
Skype.
So you hear that, Comedy Central?
Yeah.
More Nathan the sound guy.
Bring it. Bring it. Shows that has already been produced. Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want more of that.
As do I. I also... no,
Stall
basically,
for time?
yeah. More Nathan. More Nathan. Here we go, folks. That's it for us for this week. On behalf of Mr. Jesse Janity,
the man,
the myth, the legend, Gregory Goodness, myself, John Barrett, and the entire AfterBuzz TV family, I thank you for listening and invite you to come back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm out.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.